This is the newly revised XPeng G6. It's a Chinese all-electric SUV, which I do kind of feel like I'm saying a lot these days, but apparently the G6 is far more interesting than it initially looks, so stay tuned. Also, could you please like and subscribe, because that's how the internet works. And jet.
Coming up, the G6 turns out to be a bit of a charging champion, we work out why we should really be bothered, and resolve confusion.
So, XPeng. It's a Chinese company that's been going for about 12 years, and it regards itself as a technology company that makes cars rather than just an auto manufacturer. It has, however, got some serious backing. Xiaomi, which makes mobile phones in China, is one of the backers. So is Alibaba, the online retailing giant, but also a small company called Volkswagen, which has been known to make a car or two. So we should pay attention. The G6 is a 5-seat, all-electric SUV that, to me, looks like it may have been cloned from something else, which I probably can't mention for litigation reasons. Model Y. So it's nice enough, but a little bit anonymous, in my opinion. The thing is, this is the revised G6, so it has been out before, but the new one has up to, and I kid you not, 20,000 refinements and improvements. This is going to be a really long video. So, what's changed on the outside? Well, seeing as I can only vaguely remember what a G6 looked like before, and yes, I have driven one, the external changes are, how should we put this, quite subtle. On the front, you'll notice a new full-width light bar with integrated indicators. The actual headlight unit is down here, and then, as we move around the side of the car, the wheel arches are now body colour instead of black over newly designed 20-inch wheels. It's got that kind of weird, tall, slightly coupe-ish shape that slopes down towards the back, and then when we get to the rear, I actually think this is quite neat. It's got kind of broad rear lights, a little bit of aerodynamics down there, and a new little ducktail spoiler just here. And then obviously the big news is updated badge placement. Yeah, okay, look, I'm taking the mickey a little bit here, but this car is largely inoffensive. It won't make your eyes hurt, but where it has changed quite a lot is on the interior. Because once you get inside, I have to say, it does feel really nicely put together. There's lots of plush materials, although it is quite grey. It's essentially like being inside an old person's shoe. But when you settle back, it just feels like everything is right. There's a 10.25-inch driver's display up front, and then this 15 and a bit inch central touchscreen. But the one thing I have to point out is that this stuff is all really fast and really tactile. Whenever you press a button, it reacts instantly. Like, it makes some of the stuff that's on European cars look like it's got an Atari processor. This is just really nice to play with, and every time you swipe from a different direction, you can get different shortcuts. You can also put different shortcuts on the bottom of the bar, so they're always where you think they're going to be. Some of the changes from the previous generation car, it's got different materials, different dash materials, everything's a lot more plush. They've actually added in physical controls for the direction of the air vents, because before you actually had to go into the screen and about 8 buttons deep decide where the airflow was going to go. But now we've got dual wireless charging here, and that's ventilated, so you know when your phone gets a bit hot if it's on a wireless charging pad, these actually cool your phone. It's got cup holders, lots of storage in here, which is pretty good, but it's really about the user experience. This car has voice control that actually works. So when you say, "Hi XPeng,"
"Hi there,"
"Navigate to home,"
"Navigating home now,"
it actually does work. Then there's lots of other...
100 yards, you will reach your destination.
Oh no, I didn't... could you cancel that, please?
Could you please say it in another way?
Cancel
I'm
now.
not sure I understood
Oh,
correctly.
all right now. Cancel navigation.
Navigation exited.
See, it does work. And then another interesting feature is that when you buy an XPeng, the price is the price. There is no options list. So this is the long range rear wheel drive and it costs $34,990 and it gets everything that you see here. It's got a digital rear view mirror. It's got a full length panoramic sunroof. It has these front seats which are heated, cooled and massaging. It's got an 18 speaker stereo. Basically, everything you see is included and that's actually quite comforting. The rear seats really are quite nice and roomy. This is me sat behind my own driving position, which is helped by a nicely flat floor and that standard panoramic sunroof that we talked about. There are places to charge things and it does feel quite plush in here. I do think that sometimes with electrifying reviews you get a slightly skewed perspective of back seats because most of the other presenters are about 5 foot tall, whereas I am not. Also, these back seats recline and are heated, which is nice. It's also got a lovely large 571 litre boot. But no frunk. Generally though, I do think this is a pretty good all-rounder.
But here's a really cool thing hiding behind this charging flap. The G6 is probably one of the fastest charging electric cars I've ever come across. With an 800 volt system delivering 451 kilowatts of DC charging power for the big battery versions, it can run from 10 to 80% charge in about 12 minutes. And because the batteries are LFP, you can just charge them again and again without any worry, and without using rare minerals like cobalt. XPeng also reckons battery lifespan has been increased by a third, which is excellent news if you buy one in 2035. One of the only issues is that finding a 450 kilowatt charger in the UK at all is pretty rare. It'll charge faster than pretty much anything any charger in the UK can provide, but it's one hell of a bit of future-proofing.
So this is the long-range rear-wheel drive car and it comes with 295-ish brake horsepower, gets from rest to 62 in 6.7 seconds, so it's plenty fast enough. And actually it feels like a car that's got lots of sound deadening, so you get in it and it does feel like you've gone slightly deaf. But then when you're driving down the road, and I will say these roads are actually quite bad, when it hits a big pothole or a big sort of ridge across the road, it does thump through the suspension slightly. It could do with being a little bit softer. The problem with being softer would mean it wouldn't have the body control, so when you went round a corner it might be a bit more floppy. Thing is, this car is not keen like a sports car. It doesn't want to go around corners. The steering is a little bit gloopy, it doesn't really give you much feel. The brakes are fine, but it's all set up to be more relaxing. This is a relaxing, calming car to drive. It's plenty fast enough, you know, you get on a motorway and it's really, really good. But if it's anything but a very, very smooth road, you do notice a little bit of thumping. Then again, saying that, like things like the brakes that feel a bit gloopy, when you're in town and you want to do a soft stop, you know, without rocking your head, they do work really nicely. And you've got brake regeneration. But the problem with the brake regeneration is I was trying to find it in here and you start looking at this and that's bad. And yes, there are a few gimmicks. You can change all the ambient lighting, you can mess around with different things in the car, but the heated and massaging seats genuinely are quite nice. I've got all of it on at the moment and my buttocks are being touched by robots. Yeah, you didn't think you were going to have that on your bingo card for today, did you? Whee! Look, it's all perfectly acceptable going around a corner. It's just not very exciting. But then again, I don't think every car has to be exciting. I think if they're doing a job, my heart rate is genuinely slightly lower than it was when I started this drive, and that is worth something. Does feel a bit like a Tesla though. Tell you what it does do well is town stuff. So if you're just pottering through town, it's quiet and it's calm and everything just works. Admittedly, there are not that many physical controls. There's some on the wheel, but a lot of it is through the screen. Now, while it all works on the screen, the voice recognition is really, really good. And once you get used to using the voice recognition, it's excellent. And it's got some features like it's zoned voice recognition. So if the passenger was to say the trigger phrase and then say, open my window, it recognises that the person talking is in the passenger seat and opens that window. So if I'm in the driver's seat and I go, hey XPeng, open my window. Sometimes it doesn't work. Hey XPeng. XPeng. Hey XPeng.
Hello.
Open my window.
Okay.
Hey XPeng. Close my window. Now, obviously, I could just use the switches, which are literally 3 inches away from where my fingers are, but that works for everything. So you can say trigger phrase, open the boot, or trigger phrase, open the charging flap, and it does it. And genuinely, it has been working really, really well. It's just, as soon as we point a camera at things, they don't work. Don't understand that. It's just how my life is. Right, corner. What do we think? Pitching in. Yeah, it's fine. It's no more than that. But I would say that 90% of people that buy these kind of cars aren't buying it to try and be a sports car. They're buying it to be a nice thing to tool around in. And at that, I think, again, the XPeng is Sorry, darling, I didn't mean you.
Could you please say it in another way? I'm not sure I understood correctly.
I think I was too affectionate. Cancel. And she's gone. I do think that this particular car is a very good all-rounder without being kind of startling at any one thing, apart from that charging speed, which makes it absolutely exceptional. Don't forget, if you've got a car that can charge at 451 kilowatts peak now, if you buy one of these in 2035, it's still going to be relevant. The weird thing is though, because the drive selector is over here, I have actually tried to put it in reverse at 70 miles an hour twice. It won't do anything. It's got an electronic lockout, but it's something to be aware of if you've not driven one before. And on a motorway, it's actually quite solid. Very little rustle from the wing mirrors. It's nice and quiet, rides very nicely. You could do some miles in this thing and it'd be absolutely fine. But we've got to come off here, do a massive stop. Brakes, here we go. Does it stop straight?
At the roundabout, take the first exit.
Yes, it does. One of the interesting features is that you can switch off all the advanced driver assistance systems that you don't like. But say you're crossing the white lines a lot, after 2 or 3 goes, it does flag up and say, do you want to switch this feature off? And that's quite useful. Sometimes, in different parts of the UK, things like speed limit detection and lane keep assist don't actually work for the roads that we've got. So you do want to switch them off and you want to make that as convenient as possible. And that's what XPeng does. And it does have all the required cameras for autonomous driving and all of that you'd see on a Tesla. And you do get the feeling that the XPeng's very good at the technology because it is a technology company that's making cars rather than an automotive company that's trying to adapt technology. This feels like it's got all the right techie bits.
Altogether, that makes this a really nice car to tool around in. Okay, so I don't actually think you need all the performance the dual motor has to offer because this isn't really that sort of car, it's too relaxed. So I think my favourite might well be this one, the long range rear wheel drive. Fast enough and it gets the most miles per charge.
The G6 also has some really cool convenience features. So if somebody's parked a little bit too close to you or it's a tight space, you just engage the summon and then you can drive it by remote control out of the space. There's nobody in that car. It's remote control. And now I can conveniently get in. And then also, if I need to park it again, I just do this. Watch, look, nobody in it. It's like there's a ghost. It'll also do some more complicated things, like if you need to actually reverse park, I just press this and move out of the way, I assume. There is nobody in that car. Hey! Ooh. Keep your finger on the button. That's actually quite a tight space in there. Check that out. And because I've selected the space, it just stops. Look, the perfect reverse park. And I didn't have to learn how to do it.
The G6 comes in 3 versions, standard and long-range rear-wheel drive and dual-motor all-wheel drive, all with LFP batteries. The standard range gets a 68.5 kWh unit with 292 miles of WLTP range, 250 horsepower and a 0 to 62 time of a smidge under 7 seconds, and that costs 10 quid under 40 grand. The 2 other models get an 80.8 kWh battery. The rear-wheel drive long range then manages 326 miles of range and has a touch more power to overcome the extra weight, so that's 295 horsepower, 0 to 62 miles an hour in 6.7 and costs 44,990 quid. The big daddy is the dual motor all-wheel drive Performance, which has the same bigger battery but 515 horsepower, gets to 62 in 4.1 seconds and has 316 miles of range. That version is 49,990. The small battery car only gets 382 kilowatts of DC charging as opposed to 451, but because of the smaller capacity still manages 10 to 80% in that 12 minutes. Oh, and they all get a standard heat pump and powerful vehicle to load of 6.6 kilowatts, meaning they can charge another electric car. All in all, pretty good value for what you get.
It's an interesting one, this, because amongst the onslaught of very average Chinese cars coming into the UK, the real threat to European manufacturers comes from things like the G6. Why? Well, it's good to drive, it's got excellent technology, it's well priced and has tons of kit, plus I think it looks all right. It's also got that USP of charging like a hungry hippo. It's not a very striking car, but it is a very good one. So, is this too bland, or could you see a G6 in your garage? Let me know in the comments.
Information warning. If you want to know more about the G6 or its competitors like the Tesla Model Y, then come and see the electrifying.com gang. While we test all the new stuff, we also have all the knowledge about the pre-loved cars too. So if you want some pointers about buying a new or second-hand electric vehicle, it doesn't have to be an XPeng, then pop over to electrifying.com or scan the QR code on those smart TVs and we'll help.